Pamela and Shannon arrived from Texas, eager to begin the process.
We were just driving down the street and I saw her and a friend, and I just kind of flagged her over, and they pulled over, and I went to the passenger side where Pamela was at, and we just got to talking, and the rest is history.
Having suffered an ectopic pregnancy and losing her tube, Pamela and Shannon decided to go to the Czech Republic for IVF. However, Pamela was unable to produce her own eggs due to her age.
So that's when they came to us and said, we have these options for you, which is the Caucasian embryo that's already created, and I believe it was blonde hair, blue eyes, something of that sort, and or a lady who might cancel her cycle. She wasn't sure yet, but they wanted us to make a decision if we wanted her to be called to see if she did want to cancel it. We decided no on both of them and left.
One of the more unusual aspects of the clinic's work is regarding the issue of donor eggs. Although they have donors from all races, the clinic does have black donors from the Caribbean. This makes the clinic particularly appealing to black couples around the world. In the UK, we meet 42-year-old Jacqueline. After undergoing chemotherapy, she was unable to get pregnant as some chemo drugs cause infertility. And due to the advanced nature of her cancer, she was unable to freeze her eggs beforehand.
It had pushed my system into premature ovarian failure, which meant that I started going into early menopause and having hot flushes. They offered the IVF predominantly via Spain, but I didn't wish to go to Spain because most of the people that black people that I'd seen out in Spain were full-blooded African. Not that I have anything against that, but I felt that they didn't give me an impression that they were going to look at my background or my husband's background. My background is Jamaican, and so is my husband's, and my husband's got a mixed background. So I started looking on the internet myself. So I typed in IVF packages and IVF Barbados came up. So I started to venture via that route, and it was quite easy. I just had a look at the site and what was available, and then all that I needed to do was to forward a picture of myself and my husband, so that they could match a donor as close as possible to how I looked.
They try to monitor myself and the donor to get on the same cycle. So she has to stimulate or actually take medication to give her enough eggs to share with myself.
And by July, I was contacted by the centre to say that they'd found a donor and that the process would start more or less the following month, and that they wanted me out there in August.
We got here Sunday night, and Monday is when I had to do a sample test just to see how my body was working, and then we got the results same day later on that afternoon saying that everything was fine with me, and to come back Wednesday.
And then from there, they fertilized the eggs. They called us today and told us that how many we had fertilized in the condition of them. So I know from basic research that they have to be a certain quality. And so from there, we have 5 that are excellent quality. And then we have to decide how many to implant, which will either happen on this Saturday or the upcoming Monday.
I wish I could stay the whole time, but due to my job and schooling that I'm in, it's pretty demanding, so I wasn't able to stay the extended time with Pamela. But you know, I'm just concerned about her well-being a little bit, and just making sure that she's okay.
Pamela's transfer, I booked her in for 10:45. She's going to be coming in for 10:30. Everything is looking super. She's got 5 beautiful embryos. She is going to be on her own tomorrow, so she'll just need that little added support.
Pamela's transfer day has finally arrived. She waits to be called in.
All right, so what we use is this picture guide to give you a sense of what we've been looking for in the last few days, okay? So we start off with eggs and sperm on the day of the egg collection, and the next morning we're looking to see how many eggs have fertilized. And how you know an egg is fertilized is these 2 bubbles appear in the center that weren't there the day before. Okay, and that's proof of fertilization. So that was a call that you got on Thursday morning. Some point on Thursday afternoon going to Thursday night, this is now going to start to multiply. Pretty big jump in an embryo's life, and it becomes a 2-cell embryo. Yesterday, which was day 2 after egg collection, we expect it to be between 2 and 4 cells. Today, we're at the next jump up, 4 to 8 cells.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go through your information. Okay, as you know, your donor did well. You got 8 eggs from the donor. 7 of the 8 eggs were mature. Some eggs will be immature and they just cannot fertilize. They're not quite at the point of cell division for fertilization. Out of your 7, 5 of them fertilized. Okay, and out of those 5, they're actually all within the range that we expect to see them today. They've all gone through this hurdle. You have 2 beautiful 8-cell embryos. So remember I said to you 4 to 8 cells. The best we hope for is 8. You've got 2 of those. You've also got 2 6-cell embryos. So the wonderful news here is the first decision we need to make is how many do we put in. And essentially, for a donor cycle, we know that the right number is 2, okay? We want to obviously stack your dice a chance of being pregnant, but most importantly, what we don't want is triplets or quads or quins or anything of the sort. And certainly with this quality of embryo, we would not want to put in more than 2 embryos because you would have a higher risk of triplets. Okay? Which is obviously not what you want. All right? So the nice thing here is that what you're going to be able to have is, obviously we're going to choose the 2 8 cells as your number 1 and number 2, okay? But you're actually going to have 2 embryos surplus for freezing as well. Once we have this in place, then we can move the embryos.
Okay, so we focus on that white dot.
Perfect.
Nice.
See that white dot there on the screen?
I do.
Now we're just going to transfer them now. That nice bright light there. There's the transfer. Now we're going to relax the speculum down. We'll relieve some of that discomfort. And now we're going to take the actual outer catheter out. We're going to take the speculum out. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well done.
Anna?
It's gonna be all right. And I was like, I'm frustrated, you know, and I'm upset, and I can't. There's nothing I can do physically. And so she called me. She goes, well, I think I found your answer. And she goes, it's a little earlier than what you had expected, but I think I pulled enough strings to make it happen for you. So she's like, don't tell anyone. It's like, okay. She's so sweet. Whether it be successful or not, just because she was such a warm and loving person. And she was very sweet and understanding, because there'd be days I'd call or I'd write her on email. I know she'd be like, this woman is crazy. But she never said anything like that. But, you know, just the way that you think. And it's almost like you feel like you're in a competition and you're losing because you can't do anything, you know, yourself. So she was really good. So she needs a raise. For all those who are trying to do IVF, we gotta make you hush. Most importantly, remain positive. It can and does work. And it will work.